Dangles, spangles, sparkles. Do I hear salsa music? It's a party on your finger.
It's who I am, a little rare, some sour fare, and some mystery, putting it all together, doing what I do, doing what I do.
Hi, I'm Tamara Berg, and I like to make rings that are dynamic and have some movement to them. So I'm going to show you how to make a great beaded ring that has a focal point bead to it and is super fun and super easy. So let's get started. We are going to be working with 18 gauge sterling silver wire, and I like to use the sterling just because it looks pretty, but you can use any 18 gauge wire. It's important that you use 18 gauge because you need that kind of heft for a ring base. So with the 18 gauge wire, we are just going to take round nose pliers and just take the end of that wire and turn a circle on that wire. Now make sure that the circle is big enough that the feature bead that you're going to use on your ring won't fall off. And the beads that we're using here are furnace glass beads from artbeads.com. They sell them by the ounce, and they come in these really fantastic color collections. We're using the tropical collection, and they're great because you'll have a few choices within the beads, and then you can make earrings or a pendant to match your ring. So lots of great choices. So we just feed that furnace glass bead onto the wire and bring it all the way down to the end where the loop was. Then take the other end of the wire and we're going to feed it through the same end and pull that all the way through so the wires will just cross underneath inside that bead. So notice that you will have to have a bead that has a pretty big hole in it so that both ends of that 18 gauge wire will fit through. And it takes a little coaxing, but eventually it comes through. Now the shaping and sizing on this is pretty rugged right now. So I've got some tips from a book called 101 Tips and Techniques for Wire Jewelry from Walter Foster Publishing. So what we're going to do is just take a ring mandrel, and with the ring mandrel, take a ring that you already know fits, slip that on your mandrel, and then mark that position with electrical tape. Now I use electrical tape because it's stretchy and it really stays in place. It's not going to move around when you're working with it. Now don't freak out if you don't have a ring mandrel. You can also do it on a highlighter. They're tapered and so they work just great if you don't have a ring mandrel nearby. So take the ring, slide it down the mandrel, pull nice and tightly because you really want this to fit just right, and get it set on the mandrel. We will do some more shaping with that in a minute. Then take again the round nose pliers and create another loop on the opposite end. And then just cut off the excess. And then again, you may need to close up your ring just a little bit here. So we do need to do a little bit of adjusting on that ring to get it round and get sized properly. So just pull it on that mandrel a little bit and then pull it right off. And there we have our relatively roundly shaped ring. You may need to do a little bit of adjusting with your fingers. Next we're going to add the dangles. And I've got these beads. They're really tiny. They're really small. Can you see those? Can you bring the jib in and check that? See how tiny those are? Can you see them? Maybe you need to zoom in just a little bit more. Ha! They're not there. I'm just kidding. But they are really tiny beads. We are using 4mm Swarovski crystal bicones and some glass lentils from artbeads.com, and they're really too small to show you how to do the wire wrap technique. So I'm going to supersize that with some other wire that's larger and a larger bead. So imagine this is your 1.5-inch sterling silver head pin. And we take the bead, slide that on down to the bottom of the head pin. Now when you're doing wire wrapping, the most difficult part of it is getting the spacing right. And I gotta tell you, the best way to do it is just practice and practice. It will get easier, I promise you, it will get easier. So take again our round nose pliers and just a little ways from the top of the bead, this is where you're gonna have to play with it and guess a little bit in the beginning. Do a circle, create a circle, bring that wire all the way around and then get it to the point where that angle between the two wires is just a little less than a 90-degree angle. Then get your chain nose pliers and you're going to hold that loop firmly with the chain nose pliers. Then get your bent chain nose pliers and wrap that wire around the wire that the bead is on. And I usually like to do anywhere from 1 to 3 loops, pulling those around. You really need to use a lot of tension. Hold that very tightly with your chain nose pliers and turn pretty tightly with your bent nose pliers. Then we're going to take the wire cutters, cut off that excess, and then just do the same positioning again to do a final little smoothing, just sort of running around those loops so that it's all nice and smooth. So there's our supersized, and here's the actual size. Now I'm going to make 4 of the Swarovski crystal pieces and 4 of the lentil bicones. So we've got our 8 dangles made, and I've already attached 4 of them to this side of the ring, and now I'm going to show you how to attach the final 4. Now this is important. This is a basic jewelry tip, but some people may not know this. When you're working with jump rings, you never want to open them like this. Because what will happen when you do that is it causes metal fatigue and the jump ring can actually break. It also misshapes the jump ring. So when you're opening jump rings, you actually want to open them like this. And that helps maintain the shape, and then when you put them back together again, you get a nice tight join between those 2 ends. So we're going to be treating the loop on this ring as if it were a jump ring. So take our chain nose pliers and just open that up. Pull it away from the furnace glass bead, and then just add on the dangles. Got 1, little lentil. I'm alternating the shapes and the colors, and it's just going to look fantastic when this is finished. It really adds a lot of life to this ring. And then we just close it as if it were a jump ring. Make sure it's nice and tight. You don't want those dangles falling off. So there is the finished party on your finger ring. But it doesn't go with my outfit, so I'm going to show you some others. This is another version of just the same thing with just some different beads. Then we have this one. It's a more reserved party, perhaps maybe a tea party. On this ring, it's got a little bit more spunk to it. I've made coils on the ends here instead of loops. They're drinking fizzy drinks at this party. And this one, spangles and bangles and beads, it's Mardi Gras. So whether you're a more subdued partier or more of a party girl, the party on your finger ring is sure to set the mood. So get out there and make something beautiful. Party!
To create this project yourself, download this week's design guide. You'll get step-by-step instructions along with special make-it-your-own bonus tips and ideas.